It was supposed to be the end of a fairy tale, but instead, it turned into a story no one saw coming. When Amelia Carter signed the divorce papers that morning, everyone expected tears, drama, or maybe even a quiet breakdown. After all, walking away from a billionaire husband isn't something you do lightly. But Amelia didn't cry. She didn't beg. She didn't even flinch. She signed those papers with a calm, almost amused smile. Within minutes, she was gone. The sound of the engine from his sleek black Aston Martin echoed down the driveway as she drove off, leaving her ex-husband standing in silence. What the cameras didn't capture, and what the public didn't yet know, was the storm of events that led to that exact moment. Amelia had met Victor Harrington at a charity gala 5 years earlier. He was everything the magazines loved: young, powerful, absurdly rich, and emotionally distant. He made his first billion before 35, and his life was a blur of luxury yachts and private jets. When Amelia walked into that ballroom wearing a silver gown and a shy smile, Victor was captivated. For him, it was instant. For her, it was complicated. She wasn't born into money. She'd worked as a fashion designer, struggling to get her brand noticed. So when Victor courted her with lavish gifts and promises of a partnership, she thought it was destiny. Their whirlwind romance ended with a massive wedding at his oceanfront estate. Everyone said she was the luckiest woman alive, but behind closed doors, luck had nothing to do with it. The fairy tale started to unravel less than a year into the marriage. Victor wasn't cruel, not at first, but he was controlling. Every aspect of her life, her work, her friends, even her wardrobe was filtered through his approval. He claimed he wanted to protect their image. What he really wanted was control. Amelia began to see the cracks. The late-night phone calls he wouldn't explain. The mysterious business trips that coincided with rumors of him being seen with models in Paris and Dubai, and the way he dismissed her concerns as jealousy or overthinking. For years, she kept up appearances. She smiled for the cameras, stood beside him at galas, and pretended everything was perfect. But behind that flawless exterior, she was planning her quiet revenge, not out of anger, but out of... The turning point came on their 5th anniversary. Victor forgot, completely. No flowers, no dinner, not even a text. When she confronted him, he barely looked up from his laptop. "You knew what this marriage was," he said coldly. "Don't get emotional." That night, Amelia packed a small suitcase, drove to a hotel, and called her lawyer. Within weeks, the divorce papers were drafted. The real twist came on the morning she went to sign those papers. Victor had arranged the meeting at his mansion, thinking he'd have the upper hand. He'd even parked his new Cara Limited Edition Aston Martin worth over $1.5 million right in front of the house, just to show off. When Amelia arrived, she looked radiant, calm, confident, untouchable. The staff watched as she walked through the marble foyer in her white suit, the same color she wore on their wedding day. She sat down, signed every page without hesitation, and when Victor made a smug remark about her enjoying her freedom, she simply smiled. Then she stood up, walked outside, and tossed the pen on the hood of his car. Without saying a word, she opened the driver's side door, his driver's side door got in, and started the engine. The roar of the car filled the air as she lowered the window, looked him in the eye, and said, "Freedom suits me better." And then she drove away. Within hours, the clip was everywhere. One of the house staff had recorded it, and it went viral. Headlines exploded. Billionaire's ex drives off in his car after divorce. Some called it savage. Others called it poetic. But everyone agreed Amelia had just delivered one of the most iconic exits in recent memory. While Victor tried to downplay it, claiming she just borrowed the car, the internet wasn't buying it. The symbolism was too strong. She hadn't just driven away in a luxury car, she'd driven away from his control, his arrogance, and everything he represented. But what came next was even more surprising. Instead of disappearing, Amelia re-emerged stronger than ever. Within months, she launched her own fashion label, Amelia by AC, using the settlement money she'd rightfully earned. Her designs were bold, elegant, and unapologetically confident. The brand's tagline said it all: "You don't need his name to shine." Her first collection sold out in days. Major celebrities wore her designs on red carpets. And suddenly, Amelia Carter wasn't the billionaire's ex-wife anymore. She was Amelia Carter, the woman who built her empire on her own terms. Meanwhile, Victor's empire started to crack. His reputation took a hit, especially after former employees began to speak out about his behavior. Investors grew cautious. He remained rich, but the charm that once surrounded him had vanished. He became a symbol of power without empathy. When reporters later asked Amelia if she regretted anything, her answer became instantly quotable. She said, "Regret? No. I learned that losing someone who doesn't value you isn't loss, it's liberation." That line became a rallying cry for millions of women. Social media filled with posts quoting her. People called her the divorce queen, the classy savage, and even the woman who drove off into freedom. She never spoke ill of Victor, never aired dirty laundry. Instead, she turned pain into power, and that's what made her story unforgettable. Months later, at a fashion event in Paris, Amelia arrived in the same Aston Martin. When asked if it was symbolic, she laughed and said, "No symbolism. It's just a good car." That moment said everything. She didn't need to prove anything anymore. Her story wasn't about revenge. It was about reclamation of her dignity, her independence, and her narrative. She had been underestimated, controlled, and dismissed, yet she found a way to rise gracefully and unapologetically. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do isn't to fight, but to walk away smiling. And as she drove into her new life, Amelia Carter became more than a viral moment. She became a symbol of quiet power, the kind that doesn't need to scream to be heard. The billionaire may have kept his fortune, but she kept her freedom, and that in the end, was priceless. In the years that followed, her brand grew into a global sensation. She partnered with charities for women's education and funded scholarships for young designers. Every interview and every appearance carried a simple but powerful message: know your worth, and never apologize for choosing yourself. Because sometimes the most beautiful chapter begins the moment you stop trying to fix what was never meant to last. And that's the real story behind the woman who signed her divorce papers with a smile and drove off in the Billionaire's car. Thanks for watching. If this story inspired you, don't forget to like this video and hit that subscribe button for more stories of incredible people who turned their lives around. We'll see you in the next one.